Hey Bencha! Top diddly Geika, and welcome to watching this video. That doesn't make any sense, but okay, that's enough of the Dutch impression. I have all these bikes. I'm overwhelmed with bikes. I think I have 15 project motorcycles. CB550s and KZ1000s. This one has been the last 8 weeks. I haven't worked on it solidly, but I've been doing one thing after another. Painting the wheels, valve cover gasket, a whole bunch of work on this one. And the final thing is I need to sync the carburetors. That should be the last part, and then it should be ready to drive. It's all registered and insured. I can drive it again, and I probably will sell it. I don't know, but just about done with that. And so as I've been saying, I have another project bike. I have a KZ1000 Z1R. Those are a special KZ1000, not very many produced. I have one out in the shed. It's a total piece of junk. It's stripped, but it doesn't have a lot of miles on it, and I think the engine turns over. So I want to do a complete video series on that one, and I really want to get going. And that's why it makes 100% total sense for me to buy another stupid project bike. Oh! Yes, it's a 1985 Honda XL600R, not a 500, it's a 600. And 600, why 600? Because it does better wheelies. You can see somebody was doing wheelies on this and bent the frame. But that's okay. Why did I want an XL instead of an XR? Well, because I want to be able to drive it on the street. And we'll see. So I just bought this morning. It makes absolutely no sense for me to buy one. I'm not sure why I wouldn't have thought I needed an XL 600. I don't know what could possibly have made me want to have one. But I think maybe it was my Dutch adventure and I wanted to do wheelies. So I bought my own. And I heard it start. The guy said he did all kinds of work on it. He says it was in pieces. He put it together. Said he put new piston rings in it, but could not get it to stay running. It'll start on starting fluid and then it doesn't run. And I noticed when I was there, if you look right there, that's the fuel line. The fuel line is completely kinked and no gas goes there. And I told the guy that. And if he was smart enough to rebuild the engine, I'm sure he's smart enough to put another piece of fuel line on there and see if that's the issue. So it's probably not that, but hey, maybe it is. Anyway, I'll do a couple of videos on that. Try to get this thing going and roadworthy. I'm not going to totally restore it right now, but I'd like to get it so I can run and drive it. So yeah, the XL600 came with basically a whole nother XL600 parts bike. There's the frame, forks, front wheel, swing arm. There's a box full of electrical, all kinds of stuff. So anyway, I need to get all of this stuff off of my shop floor and up into the attic. So we'll do a time lapse. So it used to be I could walk around here no problem, and I just had parts stuffed into these rafter areas. And now all the rafters are pretty much full, and junk is spilled out onto the walking area. So CB550, 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 KZ1000, GBZ900. So I think there's an area over here. I don't know, I'm kind of torn on this one. I don't think there's enough here to save, but you never know. This is an 83. Right here. I don't like this. I don't really want to stick it over there because I think it'll just never come out of there. And it'll permanently take up a spot. But for now, I guess I'll just stick it in there. For instance, this is a BZ900 frame that I bought. And I bought it off of eBay for like 90 bucks. The guy said the title. He had a title. He did have a title. However, it was a junk title, which makes it useless. And I hate to throw it away, but that's probably what I'll end up doing. Some good parts there. All right. Oops. No.
No.
There's our engine case, transmission. Somebody will pay some money for that.
Someone.
No dents. It's rusted, but not too bad. Yeah, they can get the rust off the outside. The problem is on the rust on the inside. You can't get at it. So you have to treat it with a chemical. And there's all kinds of different ways to do that. All right, so that's in there.
Now we have space.
I do. I have to pick up, I have to get another shelf. This is all for 2 KZ1000G LTDs.
All of that
Both
for just
1980s. Huh?
all of that for just 2 bikes?
That's only a small part of it, yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, the engine for one of them's over here, I think in these containers. Okay, so, carb sync, KZ1000G. So why would you sync the carbs? When I got this bike, it did run, but it ran like crap. The problem was basically the routing of the fuel line and a very small fuel filter. I'm not sure which problem it was, but I put new fuel lines and he had 1 fuel filter on here. I put in 2, and that seemed to solve it. When I got it, it would not rev up. It'd rev up about half throttle and then would totally break up and it had no power. When I fixed the fuel lines, then it ran fine. But on idling, it would do this thing where you can't get the idle right. If you put the idle down normally, it'll sit there for a couple of seconds at the normal idle, and then will want to die out, especially when you're driving it and you come to a complete stop. You put the idle up, it revs up too high, or it'll do that thing where like you rev it up and it'll stay at like 2,000 RPM, way too high, and then slowly come down. It does this hunting. So usually when it's doing that, it means the carbs are out of sync. What does that mean? That means that basically the throttle position on each carb, they're not synchronized to each other. So the bike is running at idle, it's running more on one carb versus another. And 1 carb is not enough to run the whole bike, of course, because that means just 1 cylinder is running. So you want the throttles to be in sync. So how do you sync the carbs? The carbs will have some kind of a vacuum line. So there's these little nipples here for a vacuum sync, and we run vacuum hoses to each of these things. Okay, sorry. And like that. And usually you'll see a setup with 4 gauges. I got this setup from, I'll have to go look it up. This classic Honda site. But usually you have 4 different gauges, and what you do is you try to dial in the vacuum to be the same on each of 4 gauges. The problem with that setup is that if the 4 gauges are not in sync with each other, then you're still going to be out of sync. So this uses 1 gauge and uses these little valves to turn on and off the vacuum from each cylinder so you can judge it. So you'll basically look for, you'll use one of the carburetors as a reference. Let's say it's pulling 10 pounds of vacuum, and you check each one to see how much vacuum they're pulling, and you try to adjust the throttle just a little tiny bit to open or close each throttle so that you get the same amount of vacuum on each of them. So I have a remote fuel can. I think you can get these on Amazon. Great investment if you do a lot of work on motorcycles or really anything where you need a quick fuel supply and you can't use a tank. So hopefully it's off. I believe it is. Safety fuel nozzles. Come on. I think I need some more gas. All right. Shouldn't need that much gas. All right. Oh yeah, this is also really handy. One of these medical things for like an IV. I think I got it on Amazon, like 30, 40 bucks or something. I'm gonna get the gas up here. There's no gas flowing yet. There we go. Gas is flowing. I can see it filling up the filters. Hopefully it does not come pissing out the bottom of the bike. Just in case one of the floats wants to stick open. All right, so it should have fuel in it. Charged up the battery the other day. Ignition on, kill switch on, here we go. Uh-oh, something's dripping. What's dripping? Dripping all over the new paint that I just put on there. There's this joint between the two carburetors right there. And there's O-rings on the nipples of those. Choke on. They're gonna set up this fan. It's blowing some black smoke because I had the choke on. Fan going so it doesn't overheat.
This is that hunting right now.
So you can see how it goes way up, it stays up, and then it will come back down to like 2,000. That's that kind of like that hunting behavior. You want to rev it up and have it come right back down. So I'm going to start it up. I'm going to try to find a good idle around 1,500 RPM, and then I'm going to look at the vacuum pull on each cylinder and see how bad it is.
Around 1,500. I want to try to keep it around 1,500. Take this off and that resets the vacuum to 0. And I will look at cylinder number 1. You see that? So that's around 2 pounds. Cylinder 2. About 2 or 3 pounds. Cylinder 3, 2 or 3 pounds. And cylinder 4, same thing. So there's nothing wrong with it.
But there's nothing wrong with it at all. The sink on the pull on each carburetor looks to be about 3 pounds. So I don't think there's any problem. So my problem is not there, it looks like. I'm going to try it again and put the and play with the idle a little bit. I think I have got this valve wrong. And I'm starving it out of gas. Yep, that's ran it out of gas. So my vacuum gauge thing where you switch between the cylinders was kind of giving me a hard time. I had this one, but it's a shining example of why it's not a great idea to use 4 separate ones. Look, that's reads 0, that reads 0, this reads 1 pound, this reads 2 pounds, and you can't adjust it. I don't know, there's no way, maybe you take them off and you can adjust them on the back or something, I don't know. Actually, let's look. Nope, no adjustment. So, you know, they're out of the vacuum gauges are out of sync, so you gotta watch out for that. Anyway, vacuum sync was not the problem. I don't know what the problem is yet. That's not good. Not sure what's going on with that. I must have bound the cable somehow. I think the cable got stuck on this thing here. There we go. Okay, let that fix it. All right. Revving way up. When you do a vacuum sync and you put a vacuum line to each of the vacuum knockoffs on the carburetor, you have to remember to plug them back up after you're done. And I did not, so it was just sucking in air through that hole, making it run super lean, and that's why it was revving way up like that. I hope. Take 3, let's see if it idles. That's good. All right. Yep. Now it's doing that thing it was doing that I was trying to describe, like it idles crappy and dies. Let's see.